Hello again and welcome back to another TryHard Diablo 3 class guide. Today we're going to be covering the patch notes for 1.0.3 and how they affect the monk class. We're going to go over a few playstyles, few builds, and general stats you want to progress through Acts 2, 3, and 4 on the Inferno difficulty. Not going to cover Act 1 stats as much just because, I'm pretty sure everyone's doing Act 1 quite easily right now anyways, so we're going to get started. First things first, we're going to actually talk about the changes in 1.0.3 and how they affect us. The first change was the big one everyone complained about, no one liked it, including myself, was the attack speed nerf. Obviously attack speed was halved, it's just nerfed to the ground. It's still a good stat, but it's not as good as it was. So in terms of actually affecting the monk class, it kind of nerfed our survivability in terms of having life on hit. It nerfed our just general kind of mobility and moving around while DPSing. It did the same for everyone though, so it's not, the end of the world, but it did affect survivability a bit. But to counter that, Blizzard also nerfed Acts 2, 3, and 4 damage by, from what it seems to be, a lot. The gap between Acts 2 and 3 isn't as big, it seems. The actual damage monsters do, just in general, is pretty low. You can take a lot of hits from a lot of monsters at the same time, so overall we lost survivability from the attack speed, but we gained quite a bit from the actual the straight up damage nerf. I'd say this patch has been a big buff for monks. I don't know if you agree or not, but from what I played pre-patch to post-patch, we're doing a lot better now. So yeah, obviously the attack speed nerf sucked, but the damage increase gained. So that's the general summary of the overall patch. So in terms of how that affects gameplay, it's changed the spec a bit. It hasn't really changed the stat values that much, but it's changed kind of what you want to go for in your gear. So first things first, we're gonna have a look at the gear I'm using now. This gear I can kill anything in the game. This isn't, this is just kind of what I'd say if you're playing dual wield to aim for. I'll go over dual wield and sword and board, by the way. So if you're playing dual wield, these are the kind of stats you want to aim for. This is the kind of gear you want. This is what I'm going for. My weapons are low DPS, but they're pretty high stats. Like that one's equivalent to like a 950 DPS just because of dexterity. Has no critical hit damage. So on your weapons, you want to aim for something like this. That's kind of cookie cutter. You want to aim for a decent amount of life on hit and critical hit damage, preferably with an open socket so you can get even more critical hit damage. That's going to cost you more, but obviously as you get better, you get more gold and you can buy better weapons. So you want to get something around 900 DPS, critical hit damage, life on hit, and an open socket. That's kind of what you want. Everything else is about the same in terms of legs, chest, and all that. You want to aim for dexterity. I'm going for vitality now because I can afford it, but I don't know, you don't have to. So you want dexterity or chosen resist and all resist, and you want to follow that through on most of your gear. Dexterity, all resist, chosen resist. As you can see, it's just on pretty much everything. So that hasn't changed. Gloves, you want high crit damage on your gloves now. Not crit damage, you want high critical hit chance, so anything above 7% is good. Rings, you want to aim for critical, that's bad, but yeah, you want to aim for critical hit chance on rings. I don't have it on that one, but that's just defensive stats again. So, bracers, you want to aim for critical hit again, but it's hard to filter through and find a good pair with the 3 filter on the auction house. And same with neck, you want critical hit on neck. I know I don't have any of it, but I'm just going for a bit of defensive, so I can just I'm not too bothered about my DPS until I get new weapons. So yeah, you want critical hit on rings, bracers, and neck, and you can get it on your helm, but it's really expensive, so it's up to you. And then everything else, same, follows through. Okay, so the main things that changed is obviously the reason we want critical hit. I'll show you in a second. Obviously, it helps with the build. All right, so we're gonna go over the builds that I'm playing with right now. I like it. It's fun. It's really good. There's a dual wielding build and there's a sword and board build. They're kind of the same, but yeah. So primary, I'm using Fists of Thunder with Thunderclap. Okay, the reason I'm using this is Thunderclap procs life on hit. So this build's all about proccing life on hit all the time. So whenever you Thunderclap, whenever you do your third punch or you teleport, it gives you life on hit, which is amazing. Sweeping Wind with Cyclone. So whenever you critical hit, it gives you a chance to spawn a tornado doing 60% weapon damage. This also procs life on hit. So you have 2 attacks which are constantly proccing life on hit. That's the point. That's why you go for crit now, because the more you crit with this, the more life on hit you get. So everything else is the same as my other monk guide. Defensive, Blazing Wrath, so 15%, 45-second DPS. Serenity, I swapped that from the heal to 4 seconds, just because it turns out if your life on hit's high, then you'll gain almost as much you'll heal in that extra second, plus you'll be immune to damage for an extra second, which is nice. Blinding Flash with the damage increase, Faith in the Light, gives you 30% holy damage for 3 seconds. Really nice kind of offensive component to defensive cooldown. Mantra of Conviction, I'm not using Evasion because you don't need to right now. That is in the other build though, so Mantra of Conviction gives you 24% damage with Overawe, which is 48% damage for 3 seconds. And then, so that's the general build. It's pretty offensive. You kill stuff really quickly. It's nice. And then passive skills Resolve, 25% reduced damage when you attack someone for 2.5 seconds. One with everything balances out your resistance to your highest resistance. So if you have all resist 50, poison resist 50, it'll get your 50 resist and then add your poison resist on and balance out all your resistances to your highest resistance, which is poison, so 100. So it's just a little recap on that. Seize the initiative, 100% of your armor into dexterity. Or 100% of your dexterity into armor, sorry, which is nice. So it's an overall balanced offensive defensive build, and it works wonders in Acts 3 and 4. Okay, so the other build, it's literally the exact same. All you're really doing is swapping out Conviction for Mantra of Evasion. You can get hard targets. That's all I'd really recommend going for. Hard target, 20% armor, and that's with the sword and shield build. So instead of a one-hander and sword or shield, you're going to be using sword and shield with that, and then you're going to swap this Fist of Thunder for Deadly Reach with Keen Eye. So this is the build. It's almost identical, except for there we go. So the idea of this build is a lot more defensive. You get Keen Eye, 50% armor for 4 seconds on your third attack, which is translates to with a lot of armor, and then you have your Mantra of Evasion, which is also 20% armor, and then 15% dodge. So it's a lot more survival kind of based. I don't prefer this build at all in the new patch. Deadly Reach is really slow now without the attack speed, and I just don't like it. It's not that fun. But your armor goes high, so I mean with that and that, I'd have like 9k armor without a shield, or 8k armor. So that's the other build. It's a lot more defensive. If you're just getting in Act 3 or Act 2 and you're struggling, I'd recommend this build until you get a bit more gear. You're guaranteed to survive a lot longer. So just to recap with that, you're using that build, the exact same as the other one, but you swap out the primary and the mantra, and then you're using a shield instead. So that's literally the rundown on that. Like I said, not much has changed since the patch. It seems like it has, but it hasn't. All you're doing is swapping your attack speed for critical hit. Okay, we're gonna go over stat values now. Alright, so the stat priority list I've created for dual wielding, I'd say the first stat you want to go for is dexterity, followed by all resistance, and that's on par with your chosen resistance. So you want all resist and chosen resist as your second priority. Vitality or critical hit, those can kind of, it's vitality or critical hit are in number 3. And then increased attack speed, critical hit damage, and then life on hit. So that's the order of stats you want to get. I'll post it on the screen. Okay, so that's for dual wielding. Sword and board, it's roughly the same. You want dexterity, all resist plus chosen resist is your second. Armor, vitality, critical hit, and then increased attack speed, critical hit damage, and then life on hit is your final one again. So that's just like a general kind of idea of which stats you should prioritize on your actual gear first of all. So as you can see, I always go for dexterity on it, and then resistance. Not all resist on this one, but it has vitality, so it's just, yeah. Dexterity, all resist, and then vitality. You don't need to go for vitality. I used to play with 20k health, and I've translated it back to 50k now, and it's I like it. It's really fun. I just can't die really, so it's good. It's a lot of health, but it costs a lot, so that's kind of what the overall aim you want to go for. Alright, so stats you want going into Act 2. Obviously, my stats aren't what you should be basing it off of because they're a bit higher because my gear's pretty good. So Act 2, you want to hit 450 resist all with a dual wielding build, possibly 500. I'd say 500 life on hit. Yeah, that's about it. And then dexterity, try to aim for anywhere from 1400 to 1600 because obviously dexterity translates into dodge as well, so it's survivability. So you want about 400-ish, 450 resist. 500-ish life on hits, and then yeah, about 1400, 1600 dexterity. Anywhere from there should make you survive in Act 2 pretty easily. Act 3, you want to go for 650 resists as a bare minimum. Anywhere from, I'd say, well, it's same life on hit. Life on hit doesn't make the hugest difference past 500. I'm on 900, but you can go for 700, and it works out well. And yeah, oh yeah, and your critical hit, I mean, you want to aim for around 15% as a base with your Scoundrel up, and you'll be proccing your Cyclones quite a bit as well. So yeah, and then with the Sword and Board spec, you want to aim for, what's my armor on it? So you want to have about 6,000 armor with your shield on for Act 3, and then with Act 2, you want probably about, I'd say about 5,000 armor with your shield on, and then that's as a base without evasion and stuff. Should be pretty achievable. So that's about it for the stats. There's one thing I actually forgot to mention. When you're dual wielding, you get 15% increased attack speed. That's the reason I like this build, because it's still really fast. I have no increased attack speed, and I attack crazy fast. So as you can see, my attack speed goes from 1.61 to 1.40. That only happens when you're dual wielding. It doesn't happen when you put a shield on. So you gain, I don't know, about, yeah, it's 15% attack speed exactly, it looks like. Which makes the build really fun, and when you're life on hitting all the time and attacking really quick, it's enjoyable. That's why I like it. Sword and Shield's a bit more safe, but this build, I mean, with this gear and stuff, you don't really die ever in Acts 3 and 4, so yeah, that's kind of the reason why I use it. So, alright guys, that about covers it for the 1.0.3 patch update. So overall, the patch was, I'd say, an amazing thing for monks. It nerfed our DPS initially, but you know, you can regain the DPS pretty easily. It's not the end of the world. Survivability's gone up tenfold, so I mean, we can't really complain. I think most people were complaining at the start because it was a bit of a shock to the system when everyone's DPS went down by like 10k. My wizard went down 50k DPS that day, so you can't complain if it went down that much. It went down 50k. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Next guide that's coming out will be the Barbarian guide, followed by either the Witch Doctor or Demon Hunter. I've made up my mind what the 4th and 5th guides will be at, but Barbarian should be the next one, so that's something to look out, you know, something to look forward to. But yeah, that's about it. Hopefully this is helpful, guys. Hopefully it gives you a bit more of an idea, like what kind of stats you want to go for now, what you have to change up in your builds and things like that. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you found the video useful, by the way. Lots more guides on my homepage, so have a look there. Best way to get in contact with me is my YouTube email box, so message me there and I'll get back to you as soon as I can with any questions or whatever you want to say. So thanks for watching, guys. I'm signing out. I'll see you later.